Fáilte. My name is Sarah Hamilton, and over the course of 3 episodes, I'll be taking you personally on a Brendan vacation. Along the way, I'll introduce you to a host of storytellers, proprietors, and other colourful characters. I'll explore amazing accommodations, taste fantastic food and drink, and enjoy unforgettable experiences at every turn. I'm bringing a taste of our homelands into your home. So sit back, relax, and join me for a virtual vacation. Good morning, everyone. I've just landed here in Dublin and I can't wait to get my trip started. But after my long flight, first things first. Woo! So that's me all checked into the beautiful Alex Hotel. I'm so excited to meet our fabulous local host later. But for now, I'm going to catch some wee seas and I'll see you all later. With our wonderful local host, Cerintha. How are you, Cerintha?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for meeting me in your beautiful city of Dublin. Can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do with Brendan Vacation?
Well, my name is Cerintha and I work with Brendan Vacation as a local host. So just here in Dublin, and I've been doing that for about 5 years and love it because I love the connection with people and the guests. So I'm from Dublin, born and reared here, so I love Dublin. And I like to say to my guests that Dublin is not just a place, it's a feeling.
Yeah, making a lovely friendly face welcoming us all, so it's wonderful to see.
Yeah.
Now, when you meet guests, and do they tell you what they want to see or do, or do you have those? Do they come prepared, or is it a bit of a mixture of both?
It's absolutely.
Yeah.
Some are very prepared, very organised. They will tell me what they would like to do and see while they're in the city, and so then I would recommend some things, sort of from Trinity in the Book of Kells, you know, a GPO, the famous Guinness Storehouse. There are walking tours, you know, there are pub crawls. I mean, I've just done here for yourself, maybe if you're interested in knowing some of the better pubs that I love, particularly that have great music and great Dublin food. So, and maybe some restaurant suggestions. They're always good to have, so you don't have to go looking for them.
Oh, this is so cool. This is so unique because these are your choices, right? This is amazing.
Yeah, well, I love those. Yeah, absolutely.
And you've given me a wee map here.
I'm giving you a map and I have marked out, and you are right here in the middle of George in Dublin with Marion Square just on your doorstep. I always encourage my guests to just walk around Dublin because you just get the feel of the city, and apart from that you'll meet Dubliners and everybody talks to you. So even if you get stuck and you don't know where you are, if you ask somebody, they'll actually nearly take you there rather than just tell you it's down the road and to the left. So very friendly city, and I love to see that people will walk around Dublin, you know, and you just hit on things then that are totally unique. Yeah.
Amazing. And if they're like you, that's incredible, you know, there's that big smiling face. So I actually have a little bit of free time tomorrow. Do you have any suggestions of what I should do?
I would suggest that you visit 14 Henrietta Street because it's a very unique building. It's an 18th century building, over 300 years old, and you know, the walls will talk. It's part of our history and not to be missed.
Oh, brilliant. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yes,
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Cerintha. I'm very excited to go and explore the city and visit 14 Henrietta Street.
And just before I leave you, I just wanted to give you a card. It's just to say welcome to Dublin from myself.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thank you so much for your time. You're welcome. I can't wait to get out there.
Good, good.
Good morning, everyone. I am up and at it today, and here I am at the amazing 14 Henrietta Street, the wee local gem that our fabulous local host Cerintha told us about last night. Are you ready to have a wee look? Let's go! And here I am with the wonderful Gemma at 14 Henrietta Street. Can you tell us all about it? It's absolutely fabulous.
There is 300 years of social change in the city here. So there's two different stories of this house. The story of it being a townhouse mansion to the house being a tenement for the urban poor of Dublin City. So a quarter of Dublin's population lived in tenements like this all over the city.
Incredible, and it's such a beautiful building. Like, look at the high ceilings. Like, you can see where the grandeur came originally. It's absolutely stunning, and the history behind here is just mind-blowing. And there's so much history in Dublin as there is, and I'm so excited to be here because I know it's a make travel matter experience for us. So we're very thankful for everything that you guys do. So should we have a wee look around?
Absolutely. So by the 40s and 50s, Sarah, these houses were condemned. So they needed somewhere to move, and there was houses built all over the suburbs. Houses like this one, 2 up, 2 down. And this is one of my favourite rooms because this concentrates on the exodus of people from the city centre to the suburbs, the outskirts of the city. But this room shows scars of all different decades. We have the lines on the walls to demonstrate the partitions in rooms. So 15 people lived in this one room, one big family, with partitions going halfway to split up the space.
It's incredible.
The next room I'd like to show you, Sarah, is an example of a flat of a lady who lived here for 40 years and moved out in the 1970s, Miss Dowling. Her family and her grandchildren were able to help us recreate this room almost exactly how it was. The family have also donated their own personal belongings.
I'm speechless looking at this. It's incredible. You know what's so funny? I actually noticed the little wee trinkets that my grandmother would have in her house. It is so fabulous. You know, classic Irish table now. You got your cup of tea, you've got your tart, and the bread as well. Always very welcoming. But this, straight, my first attention went here, my eyes went here. This is spectacular. I love the beautiful tea set that we have here.
It's incredible. This is the Dowling family's original belongings, Mrs. Dowling's tea set and her china. She had 3 children in this house. One of her daughters, Lily Dowling, when she was 7, her father died unfortunately very young of TB, and her uncle gave her this doll to console her. So it's very important that she kept it all those years, and we keep it in safekeeping here at the museum.
Isn't that absolutely incredible? Now, if that doll could talk, I'm sure the stories they'd have. Can you imagine? But it's so beautiful. Even the clock. I think my nana has this clock. It's absolutely stunning. And the tea, and of course I spot a wee bottle of Guinness now over there. Classic Irish as well.
Glass bottle of stout, yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's absolutely beautiful. This takes me right back to my childhood growing up, and it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Gemma, the difference in this part of the house than where we just were, you can feel it, you can smell it, just the whole aura of the place is completely different to the beautiful space that we were just in. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Sarah, this is a key part of the house. These are the shared hallways, and these are the original walls of the tenement house. So if we jump forward from 1750, when the house was originally built and it housed 1 family and their 25 servants, we jump forward to 1911. There are 100 people living in this house under one roof and 17 different families. So all of the families shared these hallways. Even though there was 100 people living in the house, if you had nowhere to go and were homeless, the front door was always open, so you would have came in here and slept in the hallways. Oh my gosh. That's incredible, and I think that brings to life the true Irish hospitality, right? They're always lending a hand and always having that Céad Míle Fáilte, 100,000 welcomes, no matter what. Yeah. The striking colours in the paint you see, the blue paint is Reckitt's blue. This was a type of paint that had a type of distemper or disinfectant. So in 1911, when TB was rife through these houses, this was a way to stop the infection and spread of disease in the house. Below the data rail, you have red rattle. Some stories revealed that the women of the house, when they were leaving on a night out, they would rub the red rattle and stick it on their face for a bit of rouge. We have a lovely piece of original graffiti that's written on the walls here in true blue Dublinese. I'll read it out to you because it's a little difficult to understand. And it says, "Any person who tampers with anything and is not resident in this house will be prosecuted by law." So sure, people were welcome. Perhaps tensions grew a little bit in such an overly crowded house. 100 people registered, and then even more slept in on the hallways. That's absolutely fantastic. I can't believe the history, and to have the original still here, it's mind-blowing and something so special that we have to share with our guests.
So Sarah, we're in the basement here of 14 Henrietta Street. This is an example of a flat in 1913. This is what the conditions were that people lived in 1913. This is cold, this was very cold, very damp. If you had this furniture, you were very lucky. If you had a bed like this, you were very lucky.
It's hard to imagine what life was like back then, because we're so advanced in technology, and we're so fortunate to think that our ancestors and maybe our guests' ancestors maybe have been in these situations and lived in these kind of dwellings, which is mind-blowing. You know, we're so fortunate, and it's just incredible to think what life would have been like, because we have no idea.
We have a very good friend of ours who is part of the advisory panel here. He was actually born in this basement here in 1939, right under that window. Peter Brannigan is his name, and he comes back and tells, even though it was quite difficult, fond memories of his family living in this house because of the sense of community.
Yeah, the sense of community and the sense of love and helping each other. It's just a very moving and emotional experience, and thank you so much for sharing this with us, and everybody who's watching today. It's so special. Thank you.
No problem.
Wasn't that just absolutely fantastic? Not only the community of the building did we hear about, but also how the building is such a character. Speaking of characters, let's go meet our next one. Here we are with a local legend, Mr. Pat Liddy. Pat, I have heard so much about you, so I'm very excited to meet you. So tell us, who are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, in a nutshell, if that's possible, I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a broadcaster, somebody who passionately loves Dublin. Oh. But mainly I am a tour guide, and myself and my team love and are privileged to look after all Brendan Vacations people coming to Dublin who want a lovely walk around Dublin. Dublin was, in the 1970s and even into the 80s, was decaying, for the want of a better word, and it really needed a great lift. And I just spent all that time into the 90s and so on trying to promote Dublin, trying to get people to do something with this city. And I think we've somewhat succeeded in bringing Dublin into one of the primary places to visit across this planet.
Absolutely, and I love that you're telling a little bit of your story, because I know when our guests come visit, they're going to be creating their own Celtic story with you, which is amazing. Now, can you let us all know where exactly are we?
We're in the beautiful gardens of Dublin Castle, a medieval institution founded by the English to control Ireland. And for 700 years, the English controlled Ireland from Dublin Castle. Now, the old castle was burnt down in 1684. All that we have left is that tower over there. And this is the only remaining tower. Would you believe the walls of that tower are 15 feet thick?
What, 15 feet?
That had to withstand siege and attack.
Oh my goodness.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And the lovely green swathed circular area here in front of us is actually where Dublin got its name from.
Oh, no way.
Yes, it is. Because there was a lake here in medieval times, and the Vikings parked their boats here. It's not a lake anymore, the water's all underground, but it was called the Dark Pool because the water was so black looking. And in Irish, that translates as Dublin.
That's right.
Dublin.
So what can our Brendan Vacations guests experience on a Pat Liddy walking tour?
Well, of course, there's much more to Dublin than Dublin Castle, beautiful and all that it is. What we would love doing is showing the whole city and all its fascinating stories. I think Dublin has more stories than any other capital city in the world. It's not about dates, it's not about blocks of stone or anything like that. They're just the background. But what we love to do, entertain the Brendan Vacations guests in either small groups or big groups, it doesn't matter to us. Each group to us is individual. And we try and relate the stories, as you call them, to each group. Yeah. So they all go back home to America or whatever with an enrichment of the Irish experience.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's thousands and thousands of years worth of stories, and you're full of knowledge. And as I say, and you've probably heard this saying before, the Irish put a story in history, and you're telling that story every single day. So thank you for that, and thank you for making our guests feel so loved and having this amazing experience. Now, Don't know about yourself, Pat. I'm a little bit parched, so I'm going to go and have a wee tipple or two.
Oh, I'm always like that.
Here we are at this stunning, stunning church. But I bet you can't guess what's in behind these doors. Let's take a little look. Oh, wow. This is absolutely spectacular. And look who it is. It's the legend himself, the whiskey man, Mr. John Galali. How are you doing, John?
Hi, Sarah. How are you? Great to see you, and welcome to the wonderful Pearse Lyons Distillery.
Oh, it is absolutely fabulous. Now, John, I do have a wee bit of thirst in me. Do you think we can have a wee whiskey or two?
Let's go drink some whiskey.
Great. Now, before we have a whiskey, John, I would love if you told our wonderful guests just exactly who you are and why you're known as the whiskey man.
Sure. Well, I have the great pleasure of being a Brendan local specialist. I've been working in whiskey tourism a long, long time. Ever since my school days, I used to lead tours around the Jameson's Distillery over the river from here. And I've been working in tourism a long, long time, and then all of a sudden things started happening in Irish whiskey. Distilleries started popping up all over the country, and I really felt there was a need for a premium whiskey infrastructure, whiskey trail, premium whiskey, a selection of premium whiskey experiences required on the island of Ireland. And that's when I started as the whiskey man, and delighted to be able to do these whiskey trails, fully escorted whiskey trails for Brendan vacations.
That is fantastic. So you have so much knowledge and so much history and so much experience. And for our guests, sometimes we offer these exclusive experiences. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, let me tell you a little bit, Sarah, about our Dublin Whiskey Trail, because we are in the new whiskey neighbourhood of Dublin. This is the Liberties. And usually I'll meet my guests in the dead centre of Dublin, just across the road from the front gates of Trinity College at James Fox Cigar Shop. And from there I'll have executive transportation nearby. So we'll take a little saunter through Trinity College, College Green, into Temple Bar, where you need to spend a bit of time in Dublin. And then we'll come down here to the Liberties, and we'll visit 3 distilleries over an afternoon. And we're really focusing in on the story of these distilleries, and most importantly, the brands. So for a visitor who wants to come and maybe visit more than one distillery, they want to get the overall Irish whiskey story, a glimpse at the booming Irish whiskey story, and visit a few distilleries, this is a good way of doing it over an afternoon in Dublin.
That is amazing. I love that. That's right down my alley. And I know a lot of my friends and family will be the exact same. They'd want to do that. Now, I know we have an experience out in Lambay Island as well. It's something very special, right?
Yes. So this is very exciting. Lambay, I grew up very close to Lambay Island, and it was always off limits. It's a very mysterious place. It's a wildlife sanctuary, a nature reserve, and the Baring family, who own Lambay Island, they want to share Lambay Island. We'll charter a boat and take visitors out to Lambay Island, where they'll have private access to the island, and they'll be brought on a tour with the Baring family, hosted by the Baring family, into their home, which is a medieval castle. And after spending some time with the Baring family, a Lambay whiskey brand ambassador will take you through a whiskey tasting of Lambay whiskies, and you'll visit the warehouse where the Lambay whiskey is sleeping, and it's all a very special experience over a half day also out in North County Dublin.
Isn't that incredible? What a cool experience to do, and something so special, like the memories that are created doing that is something that's going to last a lifetime. So John, right, the Irish for whiskey is Ishkabaha.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and the history of Irish whiskey?
Sure. Well, Ishkabaha is translated directly into the water of life, would you believe? So Irish whiskey goes back, well, it was the Irish that invented whiskey. Now, I always get myself into trouble when there's people from Scotland listening in to a statement like that, but the Irish and the Scots have been debating this for a long, long time, and really we don't know who invented whiskey. But the Irish and the Scots have done very well at whiskey, and they continue to do very well at whiskey production and selling it all over the world. But it hasn't always been that good, and if I go back to, let's say, the early 1900s, Irish whiskey was on top of the world, so it dominated the world whiskey scene. And this neighbourhood that we're in now, the Liberties, there were 32 operational distilleries, and there were 88 distilleries all over Ireland. But we hit the 20th century and everything happened at once. So there was like the 2 world wars, there was war here in Ireland, there was trade wars with Britain, there was prohibition in the US, and then the rise of the Scottish blend all left Irish whiskey in ruins by the 1960s. So we had only 5 brands or distilleries left by 1966. So they joined forces, they created Irish Distillers Group, and Jameson was the poster boy of Irish Distillers Group. And Jameson became the fastest growing whiskey in the world, and Irish whiskey became the fastest growing premium spirit in the world. And as a direct result of that, we have distilleries opening up all over the island of Ireland. And there's going to be 65 distilleries fully operational in the next couple of years. And my most important objective is to bring your guests out on whiskey trails where they're meeting the people behind the brands, they're meeting the people who make the whiskey, and they're getting a very rounded view at the Irish whiskey scene here in Ireland and worldwide.
Yeah, that's incredible. No wonder you're known as the whiskey man. This place is amazing, but John, I'm thirsty now. I'm ready for having a tipple, so I am.
Well, over to you, Tiernan.
Lovely. So guys, the first whiskey you're going to try here today is our Pearse Original, which is a blend of malt and grain whiskies. The youngest whiskey in the bottle here is 5 years old, and the oldest in there is 7 years old. And it spent time in ex-bourbon barrels that also had some stout in there, and that particular stout had some coffee beans in there just to make it a little bit more complex. So if you want to have a smell and a taste, these ones here.
Great.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, gets me every time.
The good stuff. I love it. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about this wonderful place, Tiernan?
Yeah, so we're obviously in a church here, and it wasn't always a distillery. This is the 3rd church that was actually on these grounds here, and the grounds date back to the 1100s, so there's a lot of history here. This particular church was completed in 1859 and then deconsecrated in the 60s, and then it became a vegetable supply store and then a hardware store and then a lighting emporium, and that closed down in 2009. And Pearse at the time was looking for somewhere to put his distillery in the Liberties, in kind of the heart of distilling in Ireland, and he found this place and just thought it's perfect.
Oh, it is absolutely stunning. It's not what you expect coming in. Like, my jaw just hit the ground. It's so amazing.
It certainly is, and even though I'm working here a few years now, I still walk in every day, and I'm very grateful to have this as an office. It's stunning, with the stained glass windows, and when the sun's coming through on a nice summer's day, you can see all the different colours splashing on the floor, and the stills are going here, and it's beautiful.
Sounds spectacular. And again, there's a story here again. Like everything we're doing around in Ireland, there's always stories attached to it, which is incredible.
Absolutely, yeah. And even when Pearse was building and renovating the church, that he found out that he himself had relations buried in the graveyard here. So there's a real deep family connection here. So it's interesting how that's kind of turned out to be. Yeah.
I can't wait for Sarah to try my favourite Pearse whiskey, which is the next one, the 7-year-old.
Yes. Our distiller's choice, which is another blend of malt and grain whiskies, and it's a beautiful blend. It's an age statement of 7 years. This whiskey is as old as 9 years old in this one. It's spent time aging in ex-bourbon barrels that also had some ale resting in them beforehand. It's a beautiful, mellow whiskey. Really easy drinking whiskey. It's a bit dangerous that way, you could polish off the bottle without thinking. Yeah. But yeah,
Kind.
exactly.
It's the one in the middle.
Oh,
Have a go.
lovely. Oh, here we go again.
Oh yes, that was a big gulp I took there. Thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Well deserved. That is an all-day type of whiskey. And then this is really quite special.
The next one here, is a 12-year-old single malt. So that just means it's 12 years in the barrel, made from malted barley and distilled in pot stills like we see behind us here. and this was sourced by Pearse himself, one of his favourite whiskies, and aged in his own ex-bourbon barrels from Kentucky. A beautiful, smooth, easy drinking whiskey with a long finish on it. Brings you on a bit of a journey, but it's one of the favourites here. So if you want to have a try.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm having a great old time.
Yeah, that's good. Really, really good.
Didn't they say whiskey was invented so us Irish wouldn't take over the world? Isn't that what they say?
Indeed, yeah. I'm not sure it worked.
Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. And your knowledge is amazing and incredible. I know our guests are going to absolutely love it and be so blown away by this space. So thank you for that, Thierry.
Thank you very much. A pleasure.
Well, that was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for having us today. And it was just so tasty and incredible. And your knowledge, wow, I'm so impressed.
Yeah, no problem, Sarah. Thank you for coming, and look forward to welcoming your guests very soon again.
We can't wait. Now, that's me for the day. I'm heading back to my hotel, and I'll see you all in the morning. Good morning. I'm all coffeeed up, and here at the Epic Museum, I'm going in to meet David and hear all things about Ireland and ancestry. Are you ready? I can't wait, so let's go. So we're here with David, and wow, what a spectacular building. Can you tell us a little bit more about this place and the museum?
Sure, you're very welcome, Sarah. You're very welcome, everyone. We are standing in the vaults of the CHQ building. It's an old whiskey, wine, tobacco warehouse, and this is Epic, the Irish Immigration Museum. It's the world's first fully digital museum where we tell the story of Irish immigration. We tell the story of the Irish diaspora all over the world and the people that claim Irish heritage. We tell the story of the culture and heritage of the island and the reasons why people were emigrating, and we go on to look at their successes as well all around the world.
That is fantastic. And I did hear a rumour. Was there an award won recently?
There was. We're very proud to be Europe's leading tourist attraction now for the 3rd year running, which has never been done before. So we're very, very proud of it for Epic, but also the Dublin region and Ireland as a whole.
That's incredible. Congratulations, that's
Thank you very
amazing.
much.
Do you think we could have a look around?
Of course, yeah, please.
Brilliant, thanks. So David, what can our guests experience when they come here?
The key thing that anyone that comes to the museum, but particularly the Brendan Vacations visitors that come, is a connection. A connection both to the Irish history, a connection to the individual stories that we tell within the museum. But very much it's a story that comes back to people. It comes back to the culture and the heritage and the history of Ireland's people. And particularly obviously looking at the focus of immigration and where they went to, the reasons why they left. But it all is essentially a storytelling museum. And we do that through digital means, lots of audio content, lots of video content, the swipe screen technology, touch screens. It's very much of an immersive experience that you will get to hear and feel your way through this museum. But at the heart of the museum is essentially people. It's all about what people went on to achieve, where they went to, and particularly people's own history.
That's amazing. It's very emotional here. It really is something very, very special that you have here. Now, David, if our guests really want to reconnect to their Celtic clan and reconnect to those roots, how would they do that?
They can do it here on site. We're very proud to have genealogists here on site with us. So we can tell the story of their own Irish immigration story, their own family history through the records that our genealogists have. And if you want to come with me, Sarah, we can take a look at your own personal history.
I would love that. Absolutely. Let's go.
Great, let's go. So Sarah, here we are. You're very welcome to the Irish Family History Centre. These are our partners that deliver the genealogy service here at EPIC, the Irish Immigration Museum. So I'm going to pass you on to Fiona, our genealogist. So you're in very safe hands here to learn all about your family history.
Oh, thanks so much. And I know for sure I'm going to see you soon.
Absolutely. We look
Thanks
forward
so
to it.
much,
Thank you.
David.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Hello. How are you? You're very welcome to the Irish Family History Centre at EPIC.
I am so excited. Thank you so much for having us and for this opportunity.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Well, I know our guests will come here to find their roots, and I think I would like to have a wee look to see if there's anything we can find.
Absolutely. So we're looking at Hamilton, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with a bit of a kind of general overview of the surname. So if you'd like to pop your name into that screen there.
Wonderful.
And see what we can find.
Let's give it a go here now. Okay. Oh, I didn't do a capital letter there now.
Don't worry, it's... So here we go. So this is the Hamilton households in mid-19th century Ireland. So it can be done by county.
I live in County Louth, or from County Louth. My dad is Antrim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look. If you click on Antrim there.
Oh, look at all this. This is amazing.
So again, we have the spread in County Antrim.
Oh, I can see it there. Look, up in
Where
the corner.
Cushion
Done.
Done.
Yeah.
Hit that
Can
for
I
me.
click on it?
You can, absolutely. So there is 3 Hamilton households in Lade Parish in Antrim in 1856-57. See, one of those could be your ancestors. So maybe we should have a little bit of a closer dive into what might be there.
I would love that.
So your grandfather is Daniel Hamilton?
It is,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, and he was born in County Antrim, and you said about 1918 or so.
Yeah.
So we had a look here, and we've actually found his birth record. So he was born on the 19th of September in 1917. So here we go. If we look at the top there, we can see 19th of September 1917, Daniel born to Pat Hamilton and Turnamona. That's the town, yeah.
I'm sorry that I'm getting so emotional.
Oh, Lord. It's okay.
Sorry. Lord.
Don't worry, lots of people, we do get emotional when they are researching their family history and finding out about their ancestors.
Sorry about that. That's just a bit emotional, so thank you. You can continue on.
Don't worry, it happens. It happens. So we can see that Daniel is born on the 19th of September in Turnamona to Pat Hamilton, was his dad, so your great-granddad. And your great-grandmother was Mary Hamilton, and her maiden name is O'Kane. And Pat was a farmer. So there's farming stock there. So we now know your great-grandparents' names, so we can have a look for their marriage certificate.
Oh my goodness!
And see what we can find. So
Can actually get their occupation.
the occupation, yeah. There's some great information that you can find, and then if he's a farmer and he owns land, then for anyone who may be coming from North America or somewhere, we can, if it's farming, which is not unusual, you can try and track down the actual piece of land.
Isn't that amazing? And that's incredible for our guests that they can do that and come and go to these spots, right?
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
amazing.
I always suggest they go into maybe a local bar or something and ask, do they remember people? It can be quite an experience. So here we have the marriage of Patrick Hamilton and Mary Kane on the 18th of June in 1903.
Bachelor.
Exactly, and look what her occupation is.
Living with what?
Parents. It's 1903. So he is from Tournamoney and she's from, I think it's Canure, and they got married in the Roman Catholic Chapel of Craga
In Cushendun.
in Cushendun. And Patrick's father is Alex Hamilton.
Oh my.
So there's your next generation back, who's also a farmer. And Mary's father is Bernard Kane, who's also a farmer.
Oh
so
my
good farming
goodness.
stock.
Oh, married for the land, you know?
Yeah, exactly,
The
exactly.
frontage.
Good Irish story.
That is incredible. I can't believe that you have this document.
So now that we know they're married in 1903, we can maybe have a look for them in the 1911 census and just see if the family is there. And we have here household members 1911. We have Patrick, Mary, their daughter Mary, Maggie, Alexander, and John. And that is actually his signature, your great-grandfather's signature there.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing.
And the other thing that the census shows us, if we look, is the dwellings, the type of house it is, the number of walls, windows.
Oh my goodness.
So it'll give you all sort of that information. So when you come to here, we try and give as much information and as much context in relation to the type of housing that your ancestor lived in where the land was.
That's absolutely amazing. I can't believe you have all these records that we wouldn't have known about, you know. This is amazing. And you know what, even what church they were married in.
Yes.
Which is just something so special. And I know our guests can come and maybe visit if they find out where their ancestors got married, they can go visit that.
It's an emotional journey.
It sure is, it sure is.
It is, and we get such great pleasure out of helping people follow that journey.
Yeah, you're taking them back to their ancestors' story, which is it's just so special. Yeah. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Thanks. That was an absolutely amazing, moving experience, and if anywhere in Ireland epitomises our mantra of taking you personally, it's right here at Epic. It's available on our travel styles, be it chauffeur or self-drive, or travelling by our locally hosted rail. Speaking of rail, I'm off to catch the train and head down to the southwest. Here we are at Houston train station. I'm going to grab my ticket, pop on the train to Killarney, and make a very special stop along the way.
Combining independent exploration with convenient travel, it's no wonder our locally hosted rail travel style is fast becoming one of our guests' favourite ways to experience our homeland. Navigating train stations is simple, and once you're on board, you can relax and enjoy the scenery, safe in the knowledge that an expert local host will be ready to greet you when you arrive. And what's more, if there's no train travel between your chosen destinations, we'll organise a private chauffeur to get you there. I love locally hosted rail. There's nothing quite like seeing the wonders of the Celtic Isles from a window seat.
So I've hopped off the train and made my way to Cashel to show you all a sneak peek of an exclusive 5-star property. Let's go and meet the people behind it. Here we are in this stunning location with the stunning Karen. Karen, can you tell us who you are and where are we?
I would love to, Sarah. I am Karen Fleming. I'm Director of Sales at Cashel Palace Hotel, and we are in the heart of Cashel here at the hotel. This is a sneak peek for you guys exclusively for Brendan Vacations to give you a sense of all of the wonderful things we have here for your guests coming to stay with us next year. So we're in the heart of Cashel, which is in the heart of County Tipperary, in the heart of Ireland. So a great location, and of course we have the added bonus of literally having this amazing historic monument on our doorstep, literally in our back garden, which you will be able to walk through our 3 acres of gardens to get to when you're staying with us, and which you'll be able to see night and day. It's lit up at night time and a beautiful thing to wake up to in the morning. You couldn't ask for much more.
Absolutely not. It's beautiful, such a stunning image to see when you just wake up and around this whole area. Now, Karen, your fabulous property, Cashel Palace, is newest to Catherine's collection, exclusive look for here for us today. It's a luxury 5-star property. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
With great pleasure. It's my favourite subject to talk about, Sarah. We'd like to think we've everything possible to offer them here, from an array of suites, garden room superiors linking out onto the garden, some beautiful traditional deluxe rooms overlooking the beautiful town of Cashel. We have got the Queen Anne afternoon tea room for a traditional Irish breakfast and a lovely afternoon tea. We've got a private residence cocktail bar. We have got the Butchery restaurant. We've got the Guinness bar. We have a destination spa over here with 2 outdoor seaweed baths, so you could take a little soak at the end of a long day sightseeing. And we've got a beautiful gastro pub, Mikey Ryan's, at the front of the property, so for something a little bit more relaxed and casual. And of course we've got a vibrant town of Cashel literally on our doorstep. We like to think we've got the best of both worlds, because we've got town at the front entrance and we've got country out here at the back. So
it is
truly fabulous.
It really is so special. So you didn't mention afternoon tea and the scones came to mind, but then you hit me with the Guinness. Oh, I love Guinness. You know, it's really the heart of us here now.
Yeah, everything in Ireland links back to Guinness ultimately. And I have just the man to tell you all about our links with Guinness here.
Oh, brilliant. Let's go meet him.
Let's go meet him. Sarah, our General Manager, Adrian Bartels, you're in the very best of hands.
Thanks, Karen.
Hi Sarah, how are you?
So lovely to meet you, Adrian. Thank you so much for having us. Think we can have a little chat?
Please, yeah, have a seat. Yeah, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Now I hear you're the man to go to hear all about the history of the place, the hotel and the surrounding area.
Well, yes, welcome to Cashel, right at the crossroads of Cork and Kerry and Dublin and Limerick and Waterford. So this is where everybody meets and everyone comes to. So yeah, it's a lovely place to visit.
It's absolutely gorgeous. You're right, it's very central for everyone to come. It's beautiful.
We're in the Golden Vale, which is where we have this beautiful produce, very famous cheese, for example, called Cashel Blue, which is very close by to us. And our guests have access to go and see how they make this famous cheese. We have access to beef farms, dairy farms, going to see how the local yogurt is made. We use all this produce in our own hotel here for the guests to enjoy. So we're very into sustainability and keeping everything as local as possible. We work very closely with the Tipperary food producers who bring us the finest of produce. So your guests coming to visit Cashel will enjoy some really great food.
Oh, that's brilliant and it looks delicious. I can't wait now to tuck in. Now, Karen did let me know there's a story about Guinness, is that right?
There is, yeah, there is. We are, as you saw in the hotel there, we have a beautiful garden, and in the garden were back in the day in the 1730s, they grew hops there, and the Archbishop loved a pint of ale, and his land agent was a chap called Richard Guinness, and Richard made this beautiful dark ale that the Archbishop really liked. And Richard had a son called Arthur, who was named after the Archbishop, who was Arthur Price, and when he was his godfather, and when he passed away, as his godfather, he gave his godson £100, and Arthur Guinness used the £100 to buy the 999-year lease in St James's Gate, and what you have is the fact that we are now the godfather of Guinness.
That is incredible. What a story, and the connection there too. And that's what brings the destination to life in these properties, the stories here that these walls can tell, these areas can tell. So we love that. And I can't wait to have now a pint of Guinness and some cheese.
Coming right up.
Now, before I take a sip, can you tell us a bit more history about where we are now and the palace? We'd love to hear it.
Of course, yeah. You're in Mikey Ryan's pub, which is the gastro dining area for the guests in the hotel. It's a casual dining room, and it is linked to the hotel. It's just through a little archway there. The hotel, as you know, was an old Archbishop's palace back from 1732. Back in the 1960s, it became a hotel first, and it was previously owned by the father of the current owner, Susan Magna, and her husband John, who actually dated in the hotel back in the day, and they've brought it back and intend to bring it back to its former glory now in the next couple of months.
Oh, that's amazing. Look at the romance there. That's so lovely to hear.
It's a beautiful story.
That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for having me today. It's so beautiful. I cannot wait for our guests to come visit. They're going to love it. I know they will. So with that, a big sláinte to you. Thank you so much.
And we look forward to welcoming your guests here at Cashel Palace.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? That just goes to show you the wonderful relationships we have and the exclusivity that we can get with Brendan Vacations, and we can't wait for you guys to come here and visit. Now with that, I'm about to hop on the train and head back down to Killarney. I'm full to the brim and ready for a good night.
On our next episode, I get active in Killarney, I learn how important relationships are in running a hotel, and I draft in some help to show off one of Ireland's most incredible regions in 2 different travel styles. See you then!